Hello everyone, and hope you are doing well. In this video we're going to be looking at occupations of the past, which is quite obviously, believe it or not, occupations that no longer exist. So the first occupation that we're going to be looking at from the Industrial Revolution is a weaver. And a weaver ran one or more looms to weave cloth. The more looms, the more money was paid. Weaving was very noisy, leaving many weavers deaf. Whether deaf or not, most weavers will have learned to lip read, since this has been the only way to hold a conversation in the weaving shed. Making the lip movements without sound was also known as memoring. It is also the sound that, obviously, a ambulance or police car or fire engine makes as well. For those of you who are unfamiliar with what weaving is a method of textile production using two distinct sets of yarns and threads. Weavers stuck together and enjoyed the tight-knit community within which they often lived. Also in the mills was an occupation known as a tackler. And this was someone who sets up a loom ready for weaving, threads the wrap in, etc., etc. And in some places the name refers to someone who installs the machinery. Now, a tackler was also known as a supervisor in a textile factory, responsible for the working and maintaining of a number of power looms and the weavers who operated them. Staying within the mill industry, there was also someone called a winder, and this was someone who winds thread onto the spindles used in shuttles. And they also transferred yarns onto bobbins or perns, ready for weaving. The next occupation within mills were scavengers and pieces. These were often children in textile factories that were employed as scavengers and piecers that had to brush up and pick up loose cotton from under the machines while they were still running, under the direction of the spinners. This was an extremely dangerous job, and many children were severely injured or sometimes killed. Moving away from the mills, a lot of you may be familiar with these, a knocker-upper. Before people could afford alarm clocks, they would pay a few pence a week to have a knocker-upper tap on the window of their bedroom at a preset time to wake them up so they could get up for working time. You would hope that they didn't put it through a window in the same instance. As alarm clocks became mass-produced, they became much cheaper, which brought about the demise of the knocker-upper. Sorry about that tongue-twisting moment there. The next occupation is a lamplighter, and the lamplighter was a person employed to light and maintain candle or gas street lights. Surprise, surprise. Lights were lit each evening, generally by means of a wick on a long pole. At dawn, they would return to put them out, using a small hook on the same pole. Early street lights were generally candles, oil, or similar consumable liquid or solid light sources with wicks. Very few exist today, as most gas street lighting has been replaced by electric lamp stroke LED. The next occupation is mobile knife sharpeners, and these people travelled the streets of local communities, and residents would rush out with their blunt utensils to have them sharpened on this stone. The use of domestic knife sharpeners, manual and electric, in modern-day kitchens brought about the demise of this local street service. The next occupation is the local door-to-door wood sellers, and they went into decline as central heating systems were fitted to domestic houses. That was a short and sweet description, wasn't it? The next occupation is the telegram deliverer. The post office used to deliver important telegram messages to people when speed of communication was essential. This service is now obsolete due to advances in computing communication services such as email and, of course, in good old social media, e.g. YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook and Insta. The next occupation is the Ragone Man, who will cover a district about once a week. There were days of extreme hardship for many. Nothing was wasted or thrown away, unlike today. He took anything he could sell on: old rags, metal for scrap, empty glass jars for use in jam and pickled onion factories, and old meat bones for glue making, and he would pay a small fee. The Ragone Man would roam the local streets and back alleys blowing his horn. I see. Often shouting his familiar message. And locals would turn out with any objects or any old crap they did not need and collect, obviously, the small fee, which I've already mentioned. The next occupation is the good old rat catcher. And the rat catcher is a person who catches rats as a professional form of pest control. Keeping the rat population under control was practised in Europe to prevent the spread of diseases, most notoriously the Black Plague, and to prevent damage to food. Now, one-person rat catching was popular with the youth of the day, and it was because it was lucrative. De-ratting English manors and businesses earn rat catchers wages that range from 2 shillings to £1. Our penultimate occupation, that now more or less no longer exists, I sort of disagree with this one in a sense, is the good old milkman. And the milkman was once a common daily sight throughout the country, but with the rise of supermarkets and milk cartons, they now just about exist. And our last occupation is the Coalman. Coal fires and stoves were once commonplace in every household, as they were needed for cooking and eating at home, so the coalman was a regular sight around the streets delivering his essential fuel to the population's homes. And there we have it. That is the end of that video. The next video I will be producing, something along similar lines, is things that were in homes that are no longer in homes. In other words, nowadays when you just obviously push a button and something does something, you actually have to get off your arse and do it many years ago. So until that video, take care of yourselves. Thank you for listening to this video. Please like, share and subscribe. And until the next video, ta-ta for now.